Hey everybody, we are back with the back nine, round 2 at Jones East Park. And breaking news, Germ, the tournament has been canceled again. A huge lightning storm coming through. So this is actually going to be the final 9 holes of the event.
It's crazy. It's the third time this has happened in the last 7 months or 8 months, and kind of getting used to this at this point, but it's something we don't want to get used to.
Obviously, none of the players are aware of that at this time.
No.
But yeah, where we're sitting now, the tournament has just been called. It's terrible weather out there, unsafe conditions, and so this is the drama-filled final 9.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because the players don't know that, obviously, at this time, and, there's just 9 holes left of this round, and we kind of knew that there was a bit of a storm heading in town.
Yeah.
And even Simon was mentioning that he was going for everything today because he wanted to win. He wanted to be in first place at the end of this round because of the possibility of what ended up happening today.
Paul said something similar. He didn't like that first tee shot, though, for this back 9. He let go of that tee bird a little early. This is an ace run.
Oh, my gosh.
I thought that was like, I told Johnny said, oh, my eyes aren't that good. I don't know. And I was like, dude, my eyes are pretty good, and I'm calling 1 inch from the chains.
Wow.
It was crazy close.
This hole has been aced on video before. Paige Pierce last year at mixed doubles, and she made SportsCenter. It's a great little ace run line. Just poke a driver, whatever you have for a straight driver, just right down the middle of that gut there, and the basket's just sitting there ready to get perched.
Yep. I went with the forehand ex-Cal. I was a little surprised to see Zach go backhand based on some of his choices earlier.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad shot.
Yeah, he's within about 35, maybe 40 feet or so. The forehand play seems difficult. It's really surprising how hard this hole is as a sidearm player because for whatever reason there's a low ceiling. The skips don't quite come in all the way, and it's just a tricky forehand shot.
Paul just a little off on his putt. I had a little window through the trees here for birdie.
Oh, great putt. Sometimes those trees are nice to have there, just to kind of help you line it up properly.
And makes you focus.
Yeah, definitely centers you into a specific spot on the target.
Oh, Johnny, just an inch low.
That's a shame. Really, I feel like he earned that birdie.
Yeah, his drive was so good.
It's so pretty.
Paul for par. And Zach for the same. So 3 pars, and I got the lone birdie.
Yeah, Johnny's not happy.
No.
And he shouldn't be. That was an incredible tee shot. Just maybe got a little bit extra skip after it hit the ground.
Yeah. Closing it to 1. I'm just 1 back from Paul now.
Yeah, coming to the final 8 holes of the tournament. You're right there.
Yeah.
Hole 11 is a beautiful par 3. One of my favorite holes on the course just because it's
got to be the signature hole.
Yeah, I feel like it is. And it's just it's not too difficult. It's not extremely long. You really should execute this shot within 10 meters every time. Mm-hmm. But you have that little gazebo area and
the Mando tree.
The Mando tree on the right, keeping you going left of that tree right there. And what an awesome gallery we have last day.
Yeah.
Or second round.
I threw a Thunderbird and I just straightened it up a little too much.
No, it's within, I'd say about 45, 50 feet or so.
Yep.
Definitely not what you're looking for, but
yeah,
still shopping.
It's over the water and past the Mando, so.
Yep. Objective number 1 complete.
Paul T-Bird 3.
And I was actually watching this shot from over on the next basket, and I couldn't tell that it was right. It looked like he had the right height for an ace run, and settled in perfectly about 10 feet away.
Johnny got a little bit overstable with it, kind of the opposite mistake that I made.
Yeah, Johnny really likes to get over on overstable discs, kind of like Nico Castro does a lot.
Yeah.
He likes to force that Anheuser over and keep the disc straight that way.
Zach lining up a backhand, and we've got problems here.
Oh.
That has missed the Mando and found the drink.
No, that's a double whammy. Not going to get the disc back either.
So he's going to have to go to the drop zone, unfortunately. Just a little bit of a grip lock. Pretty big mistake on this hole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mistake is left. If you're going to make any at all, you just want to make sure that you're staying away from the water and the mandatory at all costs.
Yep. Johnny for a birdie. Just wide.
Just a bit high there. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm looking for.
There's the SloMez. Look at the eye. The determination. Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. Killer putt.
I knew Paul was parked. I had to, to make my stand.
Stand made. A nice little tap in there from Paul.
And Zach to clean up the bogey. Ooh.
Yeah, nerves are starting to set in. It happens. He knows he got away with one there.
Yeah. Tough stretch for him these last couple holes.
Yeah, you really can't hide a shaky putt.
No.
Yeah, there's no way to hide a shaky putt. It's really that's why it ends up fluttering out of the hands, because you just weren't confident, you didn't commit to it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty obvious that he's thinking about it right now. So
yeah.
See how he turns that around.
Going back over the water here on 12, 320 feet, no mandos, just this elevated basket.
Yeah, the basket being elevated is probably the trickiest part about this. Not much really in the way.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going for the big hyzer, you got that tree on the right side, but for the most part, the play is a straight mid-range, or if you're a forehand player like yourself, you're going to try to flex something out just in the inside of this tree. Just try to flex it out to the left.
Yeah, you get your Sexton Firebird out and you just ask it to do one of these.
Oh, okay. Hit the bricks. Now let me ask you, was there a big gash on your disc?
It was okay this time.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell.
These rocks, these little bricks here by the basket, seem to really eat them up.
I thought maybe it hit up on top. Kind of hard to say.
I think it did. I think you hit the top ones, but it just came back a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure you're feeling pretty good about your putt coming up.
Yeah, I got a good opportunity for sure. Paul's going with the hyzer here, just looking for it to straight skip, and he got it. Johnny looking for a wide hyzer. I'm not entirely sure if he wanted to go inside or outside the tree.
I would imagine that Johnny was trying to play a similar shot to Paul there. Just straight at that tree, let it hyzer just in front of it. I think it just got away from him just a little bit.
And Zach, just a little low out of his hand. It clears the water, but not quite as close as you'd like.
Yeah, you're not going to get a skip most times on this hillside. It's pretty uphill.
But look at that.
Oh, wow. What a jump back from that shaky putt in the last hole.
From 50 feet into the tall basket. Incredible.
That was incredible. Sometimes making putts that shouldn't go in can give you confidence. Like, all right, even when I'm not doing it right, it's still going in.
Oh, man.
And that's a surprise there in that situation.
Yeah, Paul felt he kind of misplayed the wind there. He was saying under his breath, I knew the wind was that way. Why did I put it that way? So he just felt like he let it expose the bottom to the wind a little bit or something.
Johnny no more than an inch away from making that one. That was just the very bottom of the band there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he'll be tapping in for his 3. And Paul making the wind adjustment on his tap in.
Yep. Perfectly done. Couple threes for Paul and Johnny.
I give Johnny a 7 on his dunk there.
And some 2s for Zach and I. Zach with a huge putt. And looks like we got a tie game.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. We got a tie ball game right at the top. Johnny and Zach are 6 back, so it's really there's a battle amongst many, though, because people were tearing this course up. Yes. This is probably the calmest conditions I've ever played Jones East, and it was really a beautiful day.
We've got I think this, 425 is about right. I think the T sign says it's shorter, but 425 I'll believe.
T sign says 325.
Wrong, very wrong.
Very wrong.
But the OB is a factor here. Mm-hmm. You got OB long and OB left.
Basically, they decided to make this hole a par 3 this year. In previous years, it was a par 4, and the ideal drive would be right about where the basket is. Mm-hmm. But no one really ever tried to get that close to the OB on the left side. But that was like the ideal spot to open up into the second shot. Yeah. Where the par 4 position was.
Zach threw this a little too high, so that's not going to get the distance. But it's not a disaster. I mean, he's inbounds. He's probably 70 feet short.
Yeah. It's pretty scary to attack the screen.
Yeah.
Not only do you have the OB right there on the left, you have the OB long as well. So you really have to throw something that, just like Paul's throwing here, just something really wide And if it's going to skip, it's going to be check up like that.
Perfect shot. Brand new destroyer.
Yeah, well done.
This dog just came.
Oh my God. That is Justin Atwater Taylor's dog. I call him Jetwater. His dog, that's his dog Bogey. Oh God, I don't know how he got off his leash.
Yeah, might want to leash him up.
Oh God. Sorry to call you out, Jet, but leash your dog up, buddy.
Yeah, but Johnny does a good job making his taking his time, focusing back up after a pretty unfortunate thing, and he puts it on the green.
I love Johnny's stink look at things. When somebody in the crowd or somebody in his card does something he doesn't like, he just turns and looks at him, and I swear it makes him it shrinks him to about 4 inches tall.
Zach with a good layup. Here I am from about 40, 45 feet for the 2.
No. Don't do it.
And I could not believe it.
Oh, jeez. Come on. And that wasn't even your typical roll away.
Did a little backwards bounce a
backwards roll, because normally you just have him hitting. Oh, great putt there,
huge
from Johnny. Yeah, normally you hit the top of the cage and it turns it into a roller. That thing just hit the ground and
it was determined to get out of bounds.
That was bogus.
And doubly bad because Paul was already parked.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great,
From
great
my
birdie.
perspective, quite bad.
No, not good for you. At least you made that one.
Yeah. Frustrating bogey after just finally tying up the score.
I'm sorry, but the shruggy shoulders that you had after making that putt is the funniest thing. Oh, man.
Some great 2s there.
Yeah, Johnny really way to bounce back after Bogey. I mean, of all names of the dog. The dog's name is Bogey.
Yeah, they kind of cursed him.
Yeah.
Back on hole 14, one of the hardest par 3s on this course because you got OB on the left, you're going uphill quite some distance, 420 feet, and then obviously, as you can see now, pond right behind the basket.
Yeah, it looks like they even cleared out a little bit of the left side. In the past, I feel like it was really difficult to spot the basket, but now you can actually see the basket from the tee, which is great, trying to line up your shot.
Yep.
But it's still, like you said, it's a very difficult tee shot. The pin is in a precarious location, requires a very pinpoint hyzer to get the distance without going too far OB. And that's pretty much as good as you really want from the tee.
Yeah, you don't want to try for a whole lot more than that.
Yeah, if you're any closer to the pin, you're going to be sweating that it's going to skip, or you're going to be long OB. So something around 28, 29 feet left, right around there, that's really ideal.
Yep, nice shots. Zach also lining up the hyzer here. Quite a bit wider line. Just looking for a safe play.
And that's safe. The water, if you don't throw a hyzer, if you throw a straight shot somehow, the water's a lot easier to reach straight than it is left.
Absolutely.
And you end up seeing a lot of grip locks end up in the water.
This is honestly a hole that I don't really gun after that hard. Like I try to put myself ideally up where Paul was, but I really don't stand on this tee pad thinking about I'm going to try to get a birdie here. I mostly just try to put it in play and maybe make a nice putt.
It's a power player hyzer shot. It's really the only way to attack it. Flipping it up is just too dangerous with that water there.
Yeah, I know I can reach it, but I've also thrown it in the water before, and it's just that's a pretty silly mistake to make. Mm-hmm. I was actually trying to run that, but it ended up being a layup.
You fooled me.
Oh, at least it sat right there. It's kind of a bad slope towards the water. Paul lining up the birdie putt.
Just in there, Brooklyn as well. Just a little bit left side, but low enough to stay in the basket. I'd almost classify this as a somewhat bonus birdie.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, it feels great to get it. You don't see many birdies on it at all, even though it's right there. I mean, you can see it from the tee, like I said now.
It's a great pro par 3.
Yeah, it is. You're not going to see many AMs get this unless they have a ton of power. But, the OB, short, left, long, it keeps you honest.
Yep. So the lone birdie for Paul, pars for the rest of the group, and that's pretty standard scoring separation on that hole. I feel like you're going to get one guy who executes and makes that clutch putt.
Paul distancing himself from the field here.
Yep.
At 1900, just doing what Paul does, just keep chugging along, getting birdies, making everyone else really press to keep up with him.
Yep, definitely. Hole 15, pretty downhill. It's going to be a big hyzer backhand or a big hyzer forehand, and you really also have the up the middle shot.
Yeah, you see a few players play the straight mid-range shot, but I feel like if you have the power to do it, this shot really seems to sit nicely. It doesn't really want to skip much, and you just have to try to do that.
Yeah, perfect shot.
That's pretty good.
Johnny's got the putter out.
Oh, yeah.
Going with that low up the middle shot. It's actually really not that low.
That is so far to throw a shield, and
he rips that.
He rips it so hard. He's so good with that disc. This is the play that I feel like you're going to see. Yeah, you're going to see about 40% go hyzer, 40% do that, and maybe 20% go up the middle.
I agree.
Oh, yeah, that's just a sit down. And, oh, yeah.
That's a good shot.
Really good shot there. You really get to keep this thing super wide because of the downhill and with the road skip.
And you have to throw it so high to get over the trees.
Right. So you have to really keep it. I use that light pole as a good indicator for my aim.
Yep.
If I can keep it somewhat over that light pole, that's going to usually keep my distance driver. I usually try to throw something a stable driver on this one.
Yeah, I went with the XCal. Johnny from just outside the circle.
Oh, yeah.
Drills it.
Keeps the shield in hand and puts it in the basket. Putter, birdie. Awesome.
Yeah, that's nice.
Nice little cleanup there from about 23 feet.
Yep, happy to get that one. Should be Zach up next from sort of a similar distance.
Oh, yeah. Making the hole look easy, guys.
And then Paul with just a formality here. Probably going to go bag on for this one.
Oh, he took the bag off.
Mind. I guess he was trying to win.
Yeah, that's a shocker. That's typically bag on distance for him.
Smart play.
Nice little star frame for the card there. Always feels good to get that one. Yeah, well done.
Yeah. Hole 16 is a little bit tougher. It's got this really tight gap coming out off the tee pad, and then it's not short. It's downhill, but what does it say? 375? Yeah. And then the woods behind it are very, very thick.
Yeah, do not go long. If you go long here, you will be pitching out. I've seen several players be about 10 to 15 feet away that had to turbo putt or just lay up.
Yep.
And the distance is really tricky. Anytime you block any part of the basket, whether it's the pole,
yep,
the basket itself, it really becomes difficult to really judge the distance accurately.
Paul got a good kick there.
Yeah, that could have been really bad.
Johnny shielding it up.
Yeah, he tends to do that.
375.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
Gosh, that is so good. It's really hard to really, if you haven't played out here before, to know how hard it is to land it within the circle. It is a really difficult shot.
Yeah.
The distance control is so difficult, and that's what you end up seeing a lot of people do. Just hit that hillside because you can see the hillside, and if you feel like if you crest that hill, you're going to be in the woods long.
Yeah.
So you really have to pick and choose your distance accordingly.
I'm going with the forehand flex here. Just kind of put it out towards that light pole, and then let it swing back to the basket.
So nice. Perfectly done.
Zach from 35. Downhill putt.
Zach. Nice putt from Wisco. Yeah, he's happy. He's pumped.
He's starting to hit his putts again.
Yeah.
Pretty easy birdie putt for me.
Yeah, really easy.
Paul's just as close, but he's got a little bit more obstacles to contend with.
Ooh!
Yeah, he had to kind of pop that one.
Elevator music.
Good putt, though. Fortunate to have that that kick over and not go too deep in
Yeah,
those
he
woods.
could have been 30 feet in there, and that's not a guaranteed up and down.
And Johnny with textbook.
Back-to-back star frames, 15 and 16. Lead card making it look easy. So we got 21 under for Paul, and kind of inching up closer. You know, with 2 holes to go, though, at this point you don't know.
I'm trying to hang on, but yeah.
He's making it pretty difficult to catch him.
Yep. 400-foot hole here, 17. There's really no OB, but again, the bushes are thick down here. So it's a long distance shot, good for a forehand or a lefty, and there is the righty backhand as well.
Yeah, the righty backhand would be more of a flip up down the middle. Johnny might throw a shield 400 feet. We'll see. But yeah, if you have the distance for the forehand, just swing it out there like this and just let it drift on back.
Yeah.
And wow, he's got a lot of distance.
A little deep. We were playing into a little bit of a headwind, which we felt like was straightening up those forehands. It was kind of nice in that it guarantees you a lot of distance because you're going to get the disc flat, but it also brings those bushes into play.
Yeah, just a bit of fade there at the end, but he checked up in that creek there. That's going to be within about 30 feet or so.
Yeah, and that's not OB. He's fine there. He's just got a little bit of tough footing.
Zach ripping it. Yeah, really hard to get there on all hyzer for the sidearm, but you have to have a ton of power. You really want to make that flatten up just a bit. Still looking at it from about 40 feet or so, but
yeah, it got overstable on him a little bit too early.
Not going to be easy with those bushes to contend with. And that's a rip there with an X-Cow. That looks pretty textbook. And ooh, that might be.
It got in there, but it stopped pretty nice.
Okay. Zach!
It's just hitting.
Oh,
putts.
Yes!
Another kneeling putt.
Zach, you're the man. I love it. Love seeing him play well, man.
Pretty impressive stuff.
Oh,
man.
Johnny.
Right off the top.
And that's exactly what happens. So you see what Paul is. If you just go a little bit long, yeah, there's just
one too many branches.
Yeah, there's just too many things in the way there.
This was a tough putt because I kind of had to twist my own ankle to get my stance in there.
Oh, well.
But I luckily got it in there. I knew that once I putted, it was going to hurt my ankle because my leg had to be caught between 2 trees.
Yeah, that's tricky. Way to contort yourself and
yeah.
Get the birdie with the door open there with one of the few Paul misses inside the circle.
Yep.
Johnny with a tap in there. Nice little tap in. Good
Birdies
form.
for Zach and Nate. 1 hole to go. 2-stroke lead for Paul.
Yeah, anything can happen.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a new position on hole 18. A little shorter, a little more out of bounds.
Yeah, the par 4, I feel like more people are going to birdie the par 4 in the longer position than are going to this hole in the shorter position. So I think
Probably
they made
right
this.
about that.
They made this more of a scoring separation. There's the OB just behind the basket, probably about 25 feet or so, and about 15 feet right of the pin. There, you're dealing with really thick wood line there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a good play there. Just a wide sidearm hyzer if you got the distance for it.
Perfect.
Just inside that wood line. Another 2 feet in there, and he might not even have a look.
Yeah.
So, pretty important for you at this point to put this one close, put the pressure there.
Yeah, I got to do what I can here. At this point, I'm just thinking about staying on the lead card, keeping it as close as possible, and getting ready to fight another day.
Right. It's going to be hard to miss that one.
Yeah, pretty close. Paul going with the destroyer. And he juiced this one pretty good.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh my
He
gosh.
is safe.
There's just enough of an upslope that you can see there that really helped him out there. If that had been flat ground, sayonara.
Shield time.
Oh, yeah. He told me that this is an overstable shield. I feel like I've only seen this thing drift right.
Look at this.
He's really good with this.
Paul from about 22, unknown to him. This is for the win.
Oh, yeah.
And he hits it.
Yep. Maybe he did know.
Maybe he knew.
I feel like he might have known a little bit.
But yeah, great round from Paul.
I mean, the whole week we knew that there was weather coming in. It's Kansas. That's what happens out here. Kansas in April is just a hit or miss, usually miss.
Yeah.
The weather is just, if we get 2 good rounds out of 3 at the Glassbone Open, that is a blessing.
Yeah.
So
we got 2 out of 2 this time.
Yeah, we got 2 out of 2. Nice. We didn't even have to play the 3rd round, but if we had, it would have been a real sloppy last day.
Woo! Nice birdie, Zach. Came back strong after that. He just had that one slow middle section keeping him from a very, very hot round.
It's really actually just one bad hole.
Yeah.
And other than that, he played a terrific round, and now the tap in. Nice star frame there for a lead card and finish up.
Yeah, it was a good round, good group. Had a good time playing with those guys. And yeah, Paul is going to be your champion after the cancellation. I come in 2nd place, 2 strokes back, and then you got Ricky and Simon and Chris Clemens.
Yeah, Chris
tied in 3rd.
All shot incredible 47s. 3rd place 3-way tie there.
Yep.
Kale a couple back. And Zach dropping down 7th place, but a respectable finish with all these players. And once again, the Glassbone Open, they did everything they could to run an incredible event.
Yep.
Town of Emporia, you can't say enough about the people here. It's just
fantastic.
incredible. So thank you so much to everyone here. Thank you so much to Jomez.
Thanks to Dynamic Discs for bringing this coverage, bringing us a tournament. Let's hope for some better weather next year. I know I'll be back.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the events we all look forward to. Thanks for tuning in, guys.